We are Premier League. See, we are Premier League. We are Premier League. See, we are Premier League. Get in there. Come on. The odds are going up, baby. It's the promotion party special here on WD18. Watford are back into the top flight, back into the Premier League. At the first time of asking as well, we will be playing Premier League football next season. How good does that sound? Welcome along, Sam.
We are going up. We are going up. Come on. Oh, my God.
Pump it up. We are going up.
Oh, mate. That's it.
Who else have we got in the promotion party special? Mr. Elliot Murray.
It's only water. It's not vodka. But yeah, we are going up.
We are going up, baby. Shano.
What a goal.
Come on. Look at this. Look at this glorious badge. Just look at it. This badge will be amongst the teams in the Premier League next season. We're back.
Can we just take this off? Take this off now as well.
Yeah. Rip it off.
Premier League club.
Big time. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. Just about got our breath back from yesterday. What a day, what an occasion. One of the best days I've had supporting Watford Football Club. I mean, an absolute array of emotions from joy to relief to excitement for next season. I'm still lost for words, to be honest with you. But we've got a packed show today. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot to dissect, a lot to get excited about, as I just said. But Sam, first off, mate, just run us through and sum up your feelings from yesterday and the fact Watford are now back into the big time, back into the Premier League.
I'm incredibly hungover. I think that's the best way to start. I am so hungover. It was unbelievable. I think it was the full, at 1-0 up with 20 minutes to go. I don't know how much we're going to talk about the Millwall game today. I think most people have forgotten about it, but I was thinking, here we go. The Watford are coming back, and we held out full time. It was just the biggest, relief of emotion. I was actually a bit emotional as well. Just it's been such a long, difficult, not just season, but year for so many Watford fans who, ever since that Liverpool home game, it's just been, very up and down since then. And just that opportunity again to be back with Watford fans at the Pond, unbelievable carnage. A really good night last night. Woke up Sunday league completely hungover, and I had the pleasure of joining Andre Gray for a cigar today.
I tell you what, Sam, just to jump in there, Andre Gray and Sam had a cigar this morning. Unbelievable.
Unbelievably iconic moment. That right there just sums up the last 24 hours.
So we're going to go back to Andre and then the cigar being the Premier League.
Brilliant. So good.
How did that come about, Sam?
I don't know. Basically, he was just like, so he was sat on it and he was like, Watford fans, I want to speak to you, because he had like his mates going on. And then, like Jacob, you said, he must have recognised the name from WD18. And he was like, oh, you're right, mate. And then we just started talking about it. And he was telling me that apparently last night, Hughesy apparently was absolutely hammered. And
leading by example.
Leading by example. That's our blonde Iniesta in the middle of the park. And then apparently, I said, how was Isaac? Because I thought Isaac would be absolutely.
He was living his life yesterday.
Isaac's the kind of guy who would have tried to drive home, but the player's like, "No, mate, get in an Uber. You're not driving home by yourself."
Elliot, I wanted to put you in there, mate. Yeah. How are you feeling? You were at the game yesterday. What a day to be there. I guess the only thing was the fans weren't there to experience what was an incredible atmosphere by the sounds of it. How are you, mate? How's it going?
Yeah, all good. It still hasn't really hit me, even though I was there, and I sort of pride myself on being fairly professional when I'm at games normally, but I thought I have to make the most of this. So, when we got the penalty, bit of a celebration there. When the actual penalty went in, I thought, right, compose myself. Full-time whistle, had to take pictures, had to get videos, had to get all sorts. I felt like it was an opportunity that I just couldn't miss, and it was amazing. The atmosphere was, I just thought it would be dead, because I thought it'd be a bit of an anticlimax. We'd go up, great, but then there's not much you can do. And I thought it'd just be a bit of an anticlimax, but it wasn't at all. That the whole stadium erupted when the final whistle went. It felt like we know how loud Cisco's team are, his staff, but I didn't think they were that loud. It sounded like a packed Vicarage Road at one point.
Yeah,
with the amount that they just absolutely erupted at the final whistle. So
I'll tell you what, Elliot, just to jump in there, we will play that clip. Elliot got a clip at full time. Amazing scenes. Here it is. Unbelievable. Absolutely
unbelievable.
As you said, Elliot, the way it erupted at full time, like that must have sent shivers down you. I mean, from home watching it through Hive Live, I was incredibly emotional at full time. But I mean, that must have been one of the best feelings you've had supporting the club, right?
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. I knew I had to do my job. Not that I'm really doing it full time or anything, but I knew I had to get a match report out, had to get tweets out. I'm there on behalf of Vibe. I have to be professional. But I just thought,
can I just say, the run continues, Elliot. The run continues.
The run continues. Very true.
Elliot.
Yeah.
Elliot.
Again, must stress, it's because Watford have the best home record in Europe and fairly comfortably. It's incredible that they're doing so well, and it's actually a credit to the groundsman at Watford as well, because they've put in an absolute shift all season. And I think it's actually, I don't want to say a benefit of not having fans, but I think the unsung heroes sort of then get recognised a bit more, and you have the groundsmen finally get the attention shown to them, and they massively deserve it, because that pitch is, people are saying it's the best pitch in England, and I don't actually think you can really argue with that. It's probably, well, Cisco Munoz said it. He said it several times. He said it in post-match press conferences. He said it in interviews that it's been a massive, massive help to the Watford side this season, and it's no coincidence that as a result, Watford have the best home record in Europe. I think it is.
That is unbelievable. And speaking of praise for the ground staff, it was Cisco Munoz at full time after the game yesterday.
Unbelievable. I was thinking as well.
Sorry, mate.
You know they gave Cisco the bumps as well, and they lifted it up. I was expecting that for you, Elliot. Needed that for
you. What Elliot isn't telling us is he had a pint with Cisco afterwards. Shane. Oh, Shane's gone. He's gone. Elliot, I wanted to talk about it just at full time. Who was leading the celebrations? Who was the main guy, kind of in and around the celebrations after the game?
Well, it shocked me because I didn't realise Ismail Assar could dance as well as he could dance. It was quite impressive. At times he was slightly away from the group, but he was just always, even if he was on his own, he was dancing away. He was loving life, and he was the life and soul of the party. I was quite surprised, but yeah, absolutely brilliant from him.
Shano, I wanted to bring you in, mate. What a day to be a Watford fan. From your perspective, just sum up the emotions from yesterday.
I mean, look, first of all, Elliot, that video was fantastic. I mean, listening to that at full time, I mean, I had it on another stream. It felt like there was a crowd at Vicarage Road. Like, that roar at the end, it was as if there were like about half the capacity was in there. I mean, oh God, do you know what? This time yesterday, it's now 2:13 in the afternoon. I was pacing up and down yesterday. Obviously the lunchtime result had kind of come in, and you're kind of going through all the permutations and everything, but getting that early goal, I think we spoke about it earlier. The only thing I do remember about the game yesterday was the fact that we had to get ourselves an early goal, and we got the early goal, didn't we? And I think I have to go back to a couple of things. I think if anyone's not seen it yet, the reaction after the game with on Hive Live, Scott Duxbury talking about it being one of the greatest achievements. Scott isn't somebody I necessarily associate with emotional moments, but that was really, really emotional. Watching him back, he looked close to tears, I think. I mean, I'd go as far as to say that, and I also would go as far as well. I think it's something else as well. When we spoke about the groundsmen, the people behind the scenes, I think Troy made a good reference to that. The players are a part of it, but there are other people here behind the scenes, the people that work in the canteen, the groundsmen that this day is all about them. You know, we've referenced the pandemic so much throughout this season on this channel, the challenges that they've had, and it's all kind of come together. And at one point, just because I forget to mention it, something that Scott Dutchman said that really kind of rung quite true with me is throughout this season, we've had our problems, we've had our difficulties on the pitch. We've maybe questioned the hierarchy with Scott and Gino, and as I think Scott said it best yesterday, we are a family, and sometimes families fall out. Sometimes they do, but at the end of the day, they come together and they celebrate, and that's exactly what this season is. We as a family looking in on our football club, trying to get behind the lads as best as we can. You know, look, it's not ideal the fact that we're all at home. I think we've referenced that, but you can have a lot of fun when you're not within the stadium. And, you know, Sam said I'm slightly hungover this morning and have a beating headache and all that. But do you know something? But yeah, no, exactly that. And you know what? It's huge testament, you know, to the player, everyone around the club for kind of making this season kind of work. It's not been an easy season, but I'm absolutely elated. The scenes yesterday, watching them, looking at the people at the Vic, at the pond, mates. Football was made for days like yesterday. It was made for days like yesterday, and I you know, it would have been something else if we'd been there. But I'm absolutely elated. It's not quite yet sunk in. I think it will at some point, but right now, the sun's out, and we are back in the Premier League. That's all we can say. We're fucking back. We've done it.
It still hasn't sunk in. It's just.
Has it not sunk in yet, Sam?
The first time I'm asking as well.
It's been the weirdest season. I'm just moving on to talking about it, but first, obviously, not being at games, it's been completely different. Watching, you know, talking about credit, massive credit to everyone on Hive Live every single week, supplying us the content, absolutely superb.
Yeah.
You know, I know they keep on saying it, but we're not at games. It's the next best thing. The build up every week, the commentary has just been superb, and yeah, massive well done to them. But it's been so different, and at times really difficult to connect with this Watford side. And I think I said that after the QPR game during the watch along, I think that when the 90th minute goal went in for them, I think that was my lowest moment as a Watford fan. Just not being at games, the pandemic, everything just seemed difficult. This Watford team just didn't seem interested. And then, you know, we had the Coventry game after that. And then, you know, we haven't looked back since then, really. And those two games were the turning points for me. And, you know, it has been really up and down since then. It's not been perfect by a mile. So, you know, Cisco as a coach, he's got stuff to work on still, as all these players do as well. But they've done enough. They've really stuck together as a family. These players seem like a family now. They all seem like their best mates. They love each other. They're playing for the fans. And some of these players have never played in front of Watford fans. William Troost-Ekong, every week, I know we've criticised him, but you can never doubt his commitment and his energy. Dan Gosling, his commitment, his energy, never played in front of these Watford fans ever. And you can tell they know how much this means to us. And yeah, it's only really starting to hit me now. It's mental.
When you mentioned Truce there, I just had the image of him walking down Occupation Road with a scar in his mouth.
Yeah, exactly. It's just,
I think Dan Gosling, I think you made a good point there, Sam, because I know we probably won't talk about the game much because the result was, I know we say the result was the only thing that matters in many cases, but yesterday the result was the absolute only thing that mattered, and they got it. But Dan Gosling put in an incredible performance over the minutes he played, and he ran himself into the ground. It got to the point where you thought, actually, if he runs anymore, I don't think he can play again for a long time. Just the amount that he ran, the amount of, I'd love to see how much distance he covered, because he played so well. He's had his critics. I know many Watford fans weren't too happy with the signing. They thought maybe it was a bit underwhelming, but
Ben Watson,
he's absolutely he's changed everyone's minds, and he's absolutely deserving of that Championship promotion medal. And I hope he plays a part next season as well, because he's been a great servant to the club in the past. 4 months that he's been here? Yeah, brilliant. And a shout out to the Bournemouth fan channel as well. It's back of the net, isn't it? For
Tom and Sam.
Because they said to us, they said to us that he'll be great and he'll absolutely he'll do the job for us, and he has done. So full credit to them as well.
They said he'd score big goals. I think we'll look back on this season and go, that was the moment where we all believe. Well, maybe not believe, but we all thought, right, this is pretty much job done. Shano, both the guys touched on Cisco Munoz. I wanted to just talk about, from your perspective, the job he's done at Watford. The connection he has with these supporters is absolutely unbelievable. I haven't seen it before. Well, we haven't seen it before. We've not been at games, and yet I've never felt so connected to a manager like Cisco Munoz. I think we can all agree that the job he's done is incredible. He's got a win percentage of 70%. He interacts with fans on social media. He interacted with us just yesterday on a live stream. The guy just gets Watford Football Club. From your perspective, just a word on him and the job he's done at the football club.
First of all, I think his name is going to change to Lord Munoz. I think we should definitely work to get that pushed through. I think the one thing with him, I've picked up the matchday programs, most home games this week and throughout the season, and he's always been very, very positive about things. I don't think he's ever looked at things on a negative basis. I think he's always known that as a manager, he's not like the finished product. He knows he's got to learn things. He's still learning. But the one thing you can't fault him on is just his infectious attitude. Like, whenever I see him smile, I smile. I very rarely get that with people in general, really. If I'm being honest with you, and I think, look, he came in. We weren't doing amazingly well, of course. We were kind of, we were in the playoffs and all that. I just feel as though we needed that push, and I think he's given so many players in that team belief that they can actually do it. I feel like the aim of the team has always been to get promoted. The blueprint was there. I just don't think it was being properly executed. I think Cisco came in. There were tough moments throughout. I think we'll always go back, I think, to the QPR at home, Coventry away week, the Coventry away, Bristol City home couple of week period, and it will fully not happen in those weeks. We know that the players obviously got a talking to from some senior players, all kind of came together and all of that, but Cisco just got it right when the moment mattered, and it mattered yesterday. And as Elliot says, it didn't matter about the performance yesterday. The result was important. The result was the important thing. And at the end, I didn't really see it as much because I was watching another stream of it and they had multiple camera angles, and times when a decision really didn't go our way, the camera flicked straight back to Cisco. He was off his, he was. Had to go off his rocker, frankly, at some of the decisions on that, screaming at the referee, encouraging the players. You could hear him, he was getting behind the players, him and his assistants as well. I think his assistants will always go under the radar here, but you hear those guys and like the dolls and all that kind of stuff going out. It's a very lively, packed bench there. You can kind of feel as though, that they're kind of constantly, obviously, kind of working throughout the game as well. But listen, he's a legend, isn't he? Like, he is, isn't he? Like, admit it. I'll be honest with you.
I love him.
When I saw him,
I genuinely one of the most delightful guys we've had at this football club.
Yeah,
I mean, just personifies everything.
But when you saw him, but for me, like when I saw him come into the club, and I was like, okay, is this the guy? And I remember tweeting at the time, do you know what? It is what it is. Let's just get behind him. We got behind him. He came. He saw. He conquered. And we're back in the Premier League. Cisco, you're the man. You are the man. Everyone goes.
That was poetic, Shane. Poetic.
As always.
They do call me a Wordsworth, so there we go.
I just wanted to talk to you about.
Hold up, come on. Here we go.
What a guy.
Sam, I just wanted to ask you about
man.
just on Cisco the job he's done. I think I said it to someone the other day. I've never felt so connected to a Watford manager probably since Javi, since he left the club. And the fact that the bond he has with the Watford fans is as strong as it was with Javi, and we have not stepped foot inside a stadium, just shows, number one, what a special job he's done, what a special bloke he is. And also just the connection we have with him as Watford supporters. From your perspective, just a word on Cisco Munoz and the job he's done and the connection Watford fans have with him.
Unbelievable. I said when he came in, I wasn't happy. I don't think I'm the only Watford fan who would say that. I think I was just looking at that, 8 games at Dinamo Tbilisi, and I was a bit like, what's going on here? And all right, in the Norwich game, we did all right there. But then after that, the performances dipped a bit. Our away form wasn't really improving. And I think at that point I was fully expecting, after the Coventry game, I was expecting to see the corner flag tweet come out and the end of Cisco, but he completely turned it around. It's very rare, I think, even in today's game generally, not just at Watford, when a manager has a certain philosophy, they're very, because of, I don't want to say arrogance, but because of their ego, they're not very quick to change it. And I look at other managers we've had who, when it's not been working, they don't want to change it because they don't want to be proved wrong. But Cisco realised he needed to change it. He did. Look where we are now. We're back in the Premier League, and that's what the job he's done, just phenomenal. He's got everyone happy again. He's got the fans happy. The players are happy. It's a happy dressing room. I think the best player who really shows this is Miles Sarr, because I think we looked at him. He was all right, maybe sometimes playing at right back in the 5 at the back, and his shoulders were down. He wasn't getting involved in games. And by the end of the season, such as yesterday, he was absolutely loving his football, and he was loving it. And I think that really, it's a microcosm of what the fans absolutely love. But yeah, just a word on Vladimir Ivic as well, because I tweeted this yesterday, but he has given us the foundations to build off, I think. I know it didn't really go too smoothly with him, but I look at the way that we've seed out games this season and the defensive solidity. I know he didn't introduce Virgil van Sierralta, but I know it wasn't Ivic who introduced him, but generally the shape and things like that, I think credit has to go to Vladimir Ivic for that. So a word on him, but the credit has to go to Cisco Munoz, and I'm buzzing for him more than anything else.
Go down in Watford folklore. Funny enough, though, he did say to one of the Sky Sports reporters that he was going to sing your song by Elton John, and I'd imagine he's learning the words as we speak. That'd be unbelievable. Elliot, from your perspective, of course, you were out of all of us. You've got probably the closest relationship with the manager. Seeing him at press conferences, obviously he follows you on Twitter, knows who you are. I wasn't even joking, to be fair. But Elliot, from your perspective, just a word on him. We've all. I think the big thing for me is we've all wanted to see him do well. I think there's maybe Watford managers in the past where obviously we still want Watford to win, but there just hasn't been that connection there. But with Cisco, very, very soon we realised, as I said, a real top bloke. The players want to play for him. I think the scenes at full time yesterday kind of highlighted that. Chucking him in the air, that speech he did in the changing room where he's like, I make mistakes, but these things happen and you guys have been amazing. And even Troy admitted it where he said, those players will run through brick walls for him. Just wanted to get your thoughts on Cisco, not your relationship with him, but how it's been at press conferences, how he's treated journalists. What's that been like for you this season?
Yeah, he's just been brilliant. He's exactly the same as on camera. It's not like he plays up to the cameras or is only nice when the cameras are rolling. Like I think Ryan Gray put it really well, the writer for the Watford Observer. He put it really well on Twitter last night where he said that he's a genuinely really nice guy, and he makes, I don't want to call myself a journalist because I'm not, I'm just still someone at school, but having gone to these press conferences, he makes it very easy to talk to him, and he answers the questions with emotion and in the best way he can. He's still learning English, and his English has come on leaps and bounds as well, which we can't forget. He'll walk into the press room after a match, and I want to say win, lose or draw. I haven't actually seen Watford lose or draw this season at Vicarage Road, so I can't say that for sure. But when he's come in after a win, he's always been incredibly polite. Hi, how are you? This great win or whatever. And even yesterday, you could see just how happy he was. And he just seems like a really nice guy. Obviously, I don't know him personally, really. But he just seems like a really, really lovely guy. And he deserves it because he's put in a lot of hard work this season. Like Sam says, he hasn't been stubborn by any means. He's even said at times that if the 4-3-3 wasn't working, he'd be happy to move to something else. And that's quite a big statement to make because the 4-3-3 has helped us a lot this season. And the fact that he would be prepared to switch away from that if the time came that it felt right, I think that shows what kind of head coach he is. I think he has a great long career ahead of him, and I hope that's the case. And it seems like he's going to be with us in the Premier League now. It was confirmed yesterday in his post-match press conference that he does have his UEFA Pro license, meaning that he can coach in the Premier League as a head coach or as a manager, which is brilliant news. I can't see why the club wouldn't want to keep him on. I can't see why he wouldn't want to stay. So I think the Cisco Disco is going to continue into the Premier League.
I just want to
space from Cisco, just like
I know we said this right at the start when he joined. I think the biggest compliment you could give to Cisco is that GT would be proud of him with all that. I think that's it. It's all that needs to be said.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Shano, I just wanted to get your thoughts on the squad this season. Who do we need to give shout-outs to? Who do we need to give a big special mention to in this Watford squad?
First of all, just before I do that, Elliot, I hope you're looking to Premier League scouting next season. Because, we're not. That'll be interesting. Also, as well, like on Cisco,
I'll boot up who scored.
I think this. I think this season and his reign has been a huge, almost case study into man management, right? Ivic gave us some foundations. I'm not gonna lie there. He did. I don't think this team would have been promoted under Vladimir Ivic. I'm just gonna come out and say it, and I think I can maybe now come out and say that. Cisco has given us something that little bit more. His man management, the way he's able to kind of, I've seen it so many times this season, those bench cams and all that. All right, it's a little bit of fun for, the media teams and all that, we kind of get to see the manager. But the way he brings players into matches, he has a smile on his face. I think it was things for the Huddersfield game at the Vic. Andre Gray was about to come on. Andre did look maybe like, not particularly up for it, but he was quite serious. Cisco, man, we'd just gone 2-0 up in a game, and he was all smiles, looking at Andre. Come on, man, he could do this. Come on, enjoy himself. I heard, enjoy yourself out there, and that's what he's giving. He's giving the players freedom to play. Sarr is one guy. The shoulder slump routine. I was at the Brentford game earlier on back in December, and that team that I saw that day. The players that were playing yesterday, to compare the same people to yesterday afternoon, it's as if we've been transported like another 10 years into the future. I can't even imagine that that's the same season. That is the wonder that Cisco Munoz has worked. Other shout-outs, I guess, if we're going through like players and all that, I want to give a huge shout-out to two players in particular. Of course, we mentioned Sarr, and I think he's someone who's come on leaps and bounds this season. I'm so glad he stayed with us as well, because I think that's going to do his development the world of good. For me, Tom Cleverley and Nathaniel Chalobah should be given a huge shout out for me. They've had to cover in the absence of club captain Troy. They've come in, and Clevs, I think in particular, has done incredibly well. We noticed when he was out the side, the team maybe lacked a little bit of that balance in the central midfield. Clevs is, I think, obviously he's a very experienced player. He's been there. He's been in great United teams. He's won the Premier League. He knows about the almost like the mechanics of the dressing room. But I think Nathaniel Chalobah is someone who has come on. Troy said it yesterday on Hive Live, and I will just quote what he said. He's turned from a boy into a man this season, and you've seen it right in front of your eyes. He's maybe not someone who's got natural leadership qualities, but he stepped up so massively. And he cares so much about this football club. In fact, he cares so much that during the Norwich game, he was asking the Sky reporters what's the score in the other game, because he's so invested in it. We're doing our job. What's going on elsewhere? How can I further motivate the lads on the pitch? I'm so incredibly proud of him, because there was a stage this season whereby I thought, is his potential going to be lost? Are we going to see the Chalobah of 2017? Has he gone forever? Has that injury just scuppered him completely? No, it hasn't. He's come back. I've said it about Sarr before, and I'll say it about Chalobah as well. The Lions have roared this season, and Chalobah is certainly a Lion who's found his voice this season.
Shano, well said, buddy. Just to jump in there, going back to Cisco, just wanted to mention it. Someone did say in the comments, I think it was Caroline actually, Cisco has given up so much, hasn't seen his family for 6 months. There was an article today from Watford Observer from Ryan Gray. Just a few quotes from Cisco. He said, "I've been away from my kids for 6 months, and it's very hard sometimes to be without the family. For me, it's very nice when I could go back home. Finished the game. This is yesterday. I finished the game immediately and spoke to them. My daughter always asked me why her father never picked me up from school. So today I'm very happy, because although I miss spending time with them, I have a big dream in my life." What a man! I mean, that is incredible commitment from Munoz. What a man! Just on the shout outs for the rest of the team. One player, as a lot of people are saying in the comments, Sam, Francisco Sierralta, Virgil Sierralta.
Oh yeah.
Good gracious me, that is. I mean, he is the Chilean Maldini, as Caroline rightly points out, but I'd go as far to say, Sam, he's probably one of the best centre-backs I've seen put on a Watford shirt during the time I've supported the club. The way he bullies strikers, he reads the game well. As Elliot's mentioned in previous videos, the communication he has between the back line, communicating with Kiko, with Troost and Messina as well. And he's a leader. We've been crying out for a centre-back like him for so long, but I know you've been a massive fan of him this season, and just how good has he been for us?
It's brilliant. I remember his first game. I think it was Oxford away in the cup, and I was thinking, really, what have we signed here? And I think, it wasn't a good performance for him, and then we just didn't really see him again. I thought it'd just be one of those players that we just never really see in a Watford shirt. And then he came in. I think was it Norwich game? Absolute animal, rock solid. I'd say, I know, Jacob, you said he was one of the best. He is the best. That is not reactionary. He's the best centre-back we've had in the Pozzo era. Absolute rock solid. All right, maybe, yesterday I didn't think he had his best game, actually. I thought he looked really shaky yesterday. But
Will you play the season, Sam?
No, we'll come on to play of the season.
We'll play the season in a bit.
Yeah. For me, my player of the season is Tom Cleverley, but I think...
To be fair, Sam, just to jump in there, Rich says best we've had since Prime Prodal. So we're talking, 2016 Prime Prodal?
Yeah.
Fair shout?
Yeah, completely fair shout. I look at how a lot of these top defenders, how you never really see them make last-ditch tackles because their positioning is so good all along. And that's what I see in Sierralta. And also on top of that, he wins everything in the air. He wins every single tackle. He was patient, and that's another thing. Sorry, I know, completely sidetracked. That some of these Watford players have had to be patient to get their opportunity, and we're going to have to talk about Daniel Bachmann at some point.
Oh, mate, I'll leave it to you because I know you're in love with the man.
Oh, unbelievable! Yesterday made 2 or 3 absolutely wonderful saves. We spoke to him on the getting to know video, and he knew this was. I think it's fair to say not last chance for Watford, but if this didn't go well, then he probably would have been out the door in the summer. And he is absolutely, he's a Premier League quality #1 goalkeeper in my eyes. Everything about him, his kicking, his distribution, his handling of the ball is absolutely quality. And he's had to be patient. He has to wait. He's had to wait his chance, and he's taken that with, he's filled quite big boots of Ben Foster, who's been about for a couple of years now. So massive credit to Dan Bachmann. I'm buzzing for him more than anything else after he spoke for him. And just last thing from my pit as well. And sorry, I know there's so many players. Yeah, I think I know no one's going to credit them, but while we're talking about the goalkeepers, Rob Elliot and Adam Parks as well, because it must be so difficult to be a goalkeeper where you got really small chance of playing, unless we did have the Jack Bonham situation. I got a bit scared, actually. Do you know, Batman made that save and he was holding his shoulder, and I was thinking
when it hit the bar, right?
Yeah, and I was thinking, to support the goalkeepers and support them every week, really, really good, and wish them all the best whatever they do in the summer. Just buzzing with all of it.
And Dino, he says in the comments, "We're back, man."
Yeah.
Superb. Let's have a little look through your comments. Michael says, Bachmann won us the game yesterday, made more saves than he's had to in recent games. Very true. He hasn't had some games where it's been quieter than others, but his concentration levels have been fantastic. And as Cormac says, just on Sierralta, only 23 years of age. That is ridiculous. Scary how good he is for his age. Elliot, in terms of shout-outs, who else? Sam mentioned Bachmann. We've talked about Sierralta. We've talked Sarr. Is there maybe someone who you think should get a bit more attention than they probably have done and gone a bit under the radar?
I feel like a lot of them have been covered. I think Sam and Shane have both put it really, really well. I think one maybe that the two that maybe don't go under the radar necessarily, but they have been mainstays of the club during this good run. Is Adam Messina and Kiko Femenia, both for different reasons. I think you can't necessarily attribute it solely to Adam Messina, but the turnaround really came when Adam Messina came back from injury and when we were allowed to make the change from a 3 at the back to 4 at the back, and he just allowed us more freedom to play our way. And I think that was absolutely huge to have him back. We saw immediately he made his return with the Norwich at home tackle, which I still actually can't believe he did. I really... in my head, it doesn't seem possible that he managed to
unbelievable.
We've been promoted without having a left back for 6 months of the season.
It's actually impressive.
Yeah,
it's really
I know.
impressive. And he's put in really good defensive displays. At times he's been sort of with the way Watford have played. Sometimes he's been forced to play almost as a wing back, and he's not a wing back. And I think at times he's probably been slated and been criticised, and that criticism has been justified as well at points. But he's put in some really good performances this season. They've gone under the radar a lot. He's solid defensively. Going forward, he offers quite a lot, and he scored the first Watford free kick in I can't remember the exact time period, but a very, very long time, 5-ish years. And then on Kiko Femenia, a different kind of under the radar, because he's been the best right back in the Championship. I don't think there's any debate there. There's Connor Roberts who's pretty good, and you've got Yadom, you've got Max Aarons, but I think Kiko Femenia is just a cut above. We criticised him at times again last season in the Premier League. We thought maybe he doesn't offer everything, and defensively he's been superb. And then going forward as well, we know how good he is, and his link up with Ismaila Sarr cannot be understated. He's probably made Ismaila Sarr partly the player he has been this season, and that link up absolutely cannot be understated, and I hope that we retain that next season. So, and I don't think it's going to be easy. I think Kiko Femenia, he's got a young family, and there will probably be offers to go back to Spain. I hope he seems to love the club. He seems to enjoy his time here. I hope he understands that it is a massive opportunity now for us to be back in the Premier League, and I'm sure he'll take that. And he's just put in such a fantastic set of performances this season. People are calling him potentially player of the season. I know other people might disagree and say Tom Cleverley, but defensively he's been fantastic. And we can't forget as well, during the whole we've not got a left back predicament, he played at left back and he played really well. He played at left wing back and he played really well. He's pretty much gone wherever he wants him to play. He's played incredibly well. He's barely put a foot wrong all season, and I think he's been a huge part as to why we can say now that we've been promoted. So yeah, I think both of those underrated it in different ways, but again, mainstays of the team, fantastic performances all the way through.
Absolutely, well said, Elliot. I'll tell you what, while we're on the line of shout-outs where we get to you, Shane, one player I wanted to shout out is the blonde Pirlo, Will James Hughes. What a man. Hughes, I mean, it's no coincidence when he moved to the 6 in the 4-3-3, everything seemed to click, didn't it? He's like the main cog of that midfield, alongside Chalobah, Cleverley, PZ7 who's played, Gosling. I mean, there's been so many midfielders that have kind of rotated, but since he's come in, Hughesy's been the constant in that number 6 role, the way he breaks up play. I mean, technically one of the best players I've seen play for the club. His first touch is phenomenal. I think when we spoke to Joe Hungbo, didn't we, in that video, like the players can't get the ball off him in training. It literally just sticks to him. But I think Hughesy has just been so good this season. I think what also goes under the radar a bit is actually his leadership qualities, because I don't think he's the loudest. I mean, he swears a lot, as we've seen in the Psychology GK videos, but he kind of just goes about his business quietly and just sets a really good example for the other players. And I think, yeah, he is what a player, mate. Oh, I love Will Hughes. Shano, anyone else we've missed off? Is there a player in particular that you think deserves a big shout out for this season?
JP10.
I think, yeah, Zhao's another good one. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'll say Zhao. I just wanted to quickly say something about Kiko in that we spoke about Cisco being away from his family. Kiko missed the birth of his child to play at Nottingham Forest away. I mean, that's commitment. Given that it was Nottingham Forest away, he decided to not go. But man, that's extraordinary levels. Thank you, Dan. That's extraordinary levels of commitment and all that, So I think he's been brilliant there, and he's done so well at the back. João Pedro's a guy I think he will go under the radar. I think he's lost form a little bit just recently. He was hooked off early yesterday and all that, and I think there may be a chance potentially for a little bit now that things have kind of been, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later on, of course, now that we have secure promotion, what other things we want to see within the squad, player development, etc. Let's roll out the under 12 for Brentford or something. Shout out to Cisco as well. Shout out as well to Cisco.
Maybe that's why he was there.
As well.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I mean, itself, you know what? He's at all levels though, isn't he? He's at first team. He watches the under 23s, under 18s, and it's such an inspiration to have him at the under 12s and the under 10s. I can't love him any more than I already do, but I do. You know what I mean? João, I think, deserves a huge amount of. Come back onto the point. I mean, the man isn't an out-and-out striker. We've got to remember that. I don't think that's his strongest position. I think I think it's unfair to maybe say he's been shoehorned in that role. I think that's slightly unfair on him, but he has produced so much up front there. He's leading the line on his own. He's only, 19 at the moment? I still think he's 19. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Hasn't worked out for the last few games. But you can forgive him because he's given us some fantastic moments in there. And you spoke about the fullbacks, but Adam Messina's tackle on Boxing Day against Norwich City, the world-class, world best time tackle that I've ever seen this season. I mean, that saved us 3 points, didn't it?
Well, up to that point, mate,
I'm sure we'll go on and talk about like defining moment of the season. That's one of them. Sam said Clevs is his player of the season. I don't know who mine is. I think you could give it to an array of players. I think maybe about 3 or so months ago, I would have given it to Kiko hands down. I think now, I think it might be Sirialta. I just think there's something about him. You know, he is one of the best defenders I've seen play in the Pozzo era. I think he's the best, actually. I go as far as he's the best centre back. You know, Prodal, he had his merits. I give a massive shout out to Gabriel Angela, who sent us a congratulations tweet yesterday. But I think it is Sirialta. I think it is Sirialta. And you know, we talk about the Watford family and how one the squad have been. I will just touch on this. So many former players getting in touch yesterday, congratulating us. Udinese put out a tweet. Delafeu, Jada Merritt, obviously
Ashley Young.
pre Pozzo players. Ashley Young. He referenced the word "we" in that tweet. I know. Coming home, Ashley. Up to myself. No, I know, but in all seriousness, though, other, I'm getting slightly overexcited, but other players in there, I think João deserves just a massive amount of credit in there. It can't have been he. Yeah, I can't think of anyone. I think we've touched all over the pitch, really, haven't we? And I think everyone in that squad has played their part, even those guys who haven't played a full role this season. I noticed Troy felt slightly awkward yesterday, kind of being involved because he's not really been a huge part of this. Troy has scored two penalties that won us 6 points, 6 points towards promotion, and his leadership skills off the field. As you mentioned, he was mostly a coach throughout the second half of the season. You all play your part. You've all done your bit. And at the end of the day, I've got the picture that the club tweeted out in front of me here of all of the players and the whole "we are back" fantastic. I mean, that's going to stay. That image I've got in front of me, if you've not seen it, it's on the club's Twitter page. That image is just something I'm going to wake up to every morning and good night to every night, because it's a beautiful image. And it shows that football is a team sport. Everyone has played their part. Everyone has pulled their weight. And by everyone pulling together, everyone doing their jobs, we are back in the big time, baby. Oh, yes.
Come on. There was one person who missed out, actually, Chano, from the ex-players who gave us a shout out. Mr. Jose Holobas was watching.
Jose, yeah, he was watching it, of course.
His message was
Hive Live, you know.
Hilarious. It was the most Jose Holobas thing I think I've seen. He said, "We're up, I guess," or something like that.
Yeah.
I just thought it beautifully encapsulates the man that is Jose Holobas, just to put
protect him at all costs.
Exactly what I expect Jose to say, to be honest. It's just, yeah, well, I guess we're up. Oh, cool.
I would have loved Jose at the celebrations yesterday. Jose at the celebrations just walks into the dressing room, just picks up a chair and just chucks it across the room.
Sam, I'll tell you what, while we're on the discussion of Forestieri as well, Dan says, congratulated as well. Oh, Forestieri.
What a guy.
Forestieri, yeah, first he did. Big up first.
Okay, before we get on to some special shout-outs, we're just going to go around and give our player of the season. We will probably do a season review at some point. And there's obviously 2 games to go. But I think
I've completely forgotten that there's 2 games to go.
I know. Do you know what? I know the title's been mentioned, but I think, Elliot, you mentioned it the other day. I think we all know Norwich are going to win it, right? And if we win it, it's a bonus.
Well, I've sort of got a line of thinking here, and I've written it down just to make sure that I don't mess this up. So
here we go.
Did Reading draw to Swansea today? Is that right?
Yes, last minute, 2-2. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Reading might have a bit of confidence now, a bit of momentum. They play Norwich next. Now, if they have that momentum and they have that belief that they can just get the playoffs if it's still mathematically possible, they go and beat Norwich. That then puts pressure on Barnsley, who are ahead of them, to get a result against Norwich on the final day of the season. Barnsley gets a result against Norwich. Norwich have dropped 6 points. Watford keep going. They beat Brentford. They beat Swansea, who have playoffs pretty much guaranteed. Well, Swansea not so much, but Brentford. And then Watford win the championship. It's not going to happen. I think it's a fun
you said the titles on, mate. you said the cons on again.
I'm not saying I don't think we should go to the beach yet. I just think it's a good idea. You know, we've got enough quality in the players that haven't played much this season, or maybe deserve more game time, that I think we could still beat teams like Brentford and Swansea. So play Ben Wilmot. Ben Wilmot is more than capable to play centre half in a championship or a promotion-winning team. And then you've got Joe Hungbo, again, fantastic player. He's proven his ability so far this season. Put him on the left and see what happens. There's plenty of potential in there.
Don't play Tom Cleverley again this season.
Yeah, let him.
Yeah.
If there's nothing,
Semmer
there's
as
never
well.
been more obvious
I'd give a
change
shout out
in
there
two
as
players
well
than swap Kiko Femenia for Jeremy and Ngaki for the last 2 games of the season, because Kiko Femenia got injured. I don't know how serious it is. Regardless of how serious that injury is, it just makes sense. Give Jeremy and Ngaki more minutes. He deserves it. He played so well at the start of the season, and he's the best backup right back in the league. So just let him play the last 2 games of the season, and he'll do a job. So there are options here. There's potential.
Yeah.
Say it quietly, but Ashraf Azara left back for the last 2 games. I don't think
give him a shot.
Yeah.
We can mix up.
Do you know what it is, though?
Go on, Shane.
Do you know what it is, though, as well? Like, I think we've got so many, as I say, squad players that some have massively played their part. Others are kind of like developing talents. We talk about Hungbo and Ngaki, I think, are in there now. This ideal opportunity. If you're Joseph Hungbo, you're waking up this morning with a big hangover, but you're also kind of realizing to yourself once you've sobered up that actually it's all kind of done. Like, am I going to be able to start a couple of games this season? I think Semmer's another one who will happily rest for the rest of the season. That man has been easy. He looks so done out there, to be honest with you. He gave everything yesterday, and I think Semmer's the guy, another guy I would as well. Just from the next 2 matches, I follow a few Brentford fans on Twitter, and I saw a couple of them were actually in a beer garden yesterday, not watching their game. So they're thoroughly fed up, I think, this season. Can we go to a thoroughly fed up
Big
Brentford?
win yesterday.
They've secured the playoffs now, haven't they? So can we go to a thoroughly fed up fan base in Brentford and just go there and try and beat them? And as I said, we've sure as hell have got the quality to do that. Back at Vicarage Road against Swansea again. I think they've secured the playoffs as well. Yeah, come on, let's make it.
Let's have
2 more wins. Let's finish the season on a high. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? The players are going to be buzzing, and I think, as I say, I think if the title would be incredible, but I think it's just out of our grasp. I think we're asking a little bit too much, perhaps. I just think that. I don't know, maybe.
Yes, Elliot went into there. Just try not to rule it. Don't want to rule it out.
That was purely
of course.
a joke. There's no way we're winning the championship. It's not happening. But it's a fun thought.
I'll tell you what, lads.
Yeah.
We touched a little bit on the player of the season. Okay, so let's all go one name. Sam, with you, one name and why.
Okay. Tom Cleverley, effort, desire, sets the tone every single game.
Nice. Elliot?
Kiko Femenia.
Ooh, why?
Makes the team tick. Wouldn't be the same without him. And he's just the best, isn't he? He's just the best right back in the league.
What a player. Shane?
Francisco Sirialta, the Chilean Maldini, the rock at the back.
We've all gone different ones.
The man that we've been crying out for. And more importantly than that, the only man in that squad that can now officially have my kids, to be quite honest with you. I trust him with anything, mate. I would trust him absolutely anything. The man is an absolute rock. 23 years old, and he's putting in performances like that. Are you crazy? Oh, love it.
Love that, Shane.
If he's watching, which he might be.
I'm gonna go for someone different just to keep the thing going. Sam's gone Clevs, Elliot's gone Kiko, Shane's gone Sierralta. I would say the person who's changed the season the most, maybe not the player, is Wilkie. He is the player, in my opinion, without him, I think we would have gone up because when he came in that number 6 role, the bloke is genuinely a reincarnation of Pirlo.
Yeah.
What a man. But what I'd also give a shout out to Ismail Assar, who is arguably the best player in this division, and the quality that boy has is ridiculous. And the fact that we could see him again in the Premier League is an incredible sight. I think, in my opinion, player of the season, as it says in the title, has to be from day one. And I think for that reason, I'm probably going to go Kiko Femenia because he's the most consistent performer. He showed levels of commitment that I didn't think any Watford player could reach to miss the birth of his child to play. But he's just been so good at right back. The connection, as we've all mentioned before, with Sarr, considering that, again, they don't speak a lot of English, both of those guys, have been so good. And I think Kiko and Sarr down that right have just been a joy to watch. But I think I probably would give it to Kiko Femenia for my player of the season. But if you're going to pick one player who changed the season, from my point of view, it'd probably be Will Hughes. Because I think what that guy did when he came in was just changed the momentum of this team.
Now, just last thing as well.
Can I ask you guys a question just quickly? Sorry.
Yeah, go on, Shane.
Can I ask you guys just one question? Who do you think is the most improved player this season?
Chalobah.
Most improved.
Great question, mate.
Most improved. Because I have a name that I've already touched on, but I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. My one would be Nathaniel Chalobah.
Agreed.
For me personally, I think it's got to be Chalobah. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
100%.
I think Chalobah and Ken Sema as well, considering I know he's had blips in the season, but from what we saw before the loan spell at Udinese, so 2-3 years ago now, to what he's seen now, completely different player. Got the assist on the first day of the season, and everyone crowned him as King Ken. So, love the guy. But just last thing of before kind of shout outs towards the players, but players who people would have forgotten played for us this season, such as Nacho Passetto on the first day, Daniel Phillips, James Garner. James, stop! I
say one per video.
What everyone will forget is Craig Dawson played for Watford this season.
Yeah, that's meant. Jerome Sinclair as well. James Garner, Glenn Murray, who all played. Yeah,
those guys.
Yeah. So all of those players, I think, as well, have really helped shape this season.
Keena as well.
Keena, Domingos as well. Tom Delly. All these players that we haven't really seen.
Shout out Tom Delly Bashiru. Honestly, I spoke to him over message because he's on his way back from injury. That one of the nicest guys. I haven't met him in person yet.
Yeah.
Now, just a story to tell you. Actually, someone messaged me the other day and said Tom Delly Bashiru is such a top bloke, and I was like, oh, why? And he said he this Watford fan who I don't think he'd met before just messaged Tom and said, can I get a signed shirt? And Tom sent him one, and I thought it was a lovely touch. That. I think it was Ben Smith on Twitter. So big shout out to Ben. I know Ben, really, really top guy. And Tom
also
Delly.
Also quick shout out as well. I saw a story actually just before coming on here. Andre Gray on his live stream today, the one that Sam has just created history with, actually spoke to a fan from Iraq and said that he supports Watford and everything. He's been following our games all season, and Andre has actually arranged to have him get a signed shirt from the club. So that's an incredibly classy move on mate.
And
it's that sort of stuff, man. It's fantastic.
No, wait, fire the shout out.
No, this is just a good climax, isn't it? It's just the players we spoke to as well on getting to know. Philip Zinkernagel, Joseph Hungbo, Dan Blackman. Am I missing one? Tom Cleverley as well. How can I forget that one? All of them, the nicest guys you ever meet. Because I think there's this stereotype in football that they're boring. They're just not interested. And they genuinely wanted to speak to us. I look at Joe Hungbo when he stayed on the call with us for about 5-10 minutes after, just chatting with us about football, and he loved it. He was one of the nicest guys. All of them. Philip Zinkernagel, one of the most interesting people you'll meet in football. Got so many interests. Dan Backman, incredible backstory from becoming from a striker to a goalkeeper, and Tom Cleverley, a proper captain's interview. I think his drive. He loves this football club. You could tell, and all phenomenal. And it really did help bring us closer to this Watford squad, I think.
Top man, well said, Sam.
I think that's been so crucial as well this season, hasn't it? The fact that we've not been at games and those players, have given up their time to kind of not so much talk about like their time at the club, but also to kind of foster and strengthen that relationship with the fans. It's been so tough for us not being inside that stadium. I'd have given both my kidneys to have been there yesterday, but for those players to not have had the support, shouting down from the rookery, roaring them over the line, for Hungbo in particular, a young lad working his way through the academy, to not be playing in front of a packed rookery end, in front of a packed Vicarage Road. It must have been difficult. And, full credit to the lads who've come on to the channel and have just given up their time and have actually given us something a little bit different, I guess, and that's been brilliant, and they all deserve a huge amount of credit.
Well said, Shane. I think that's been a massive thing. And you know what? While we're on the kind of on the line of shout outs, a few that I wanted to make. Number one, as Sam mentioned at the top of the show, Hive Live this season, Emma Saunders, John Mark,
absolutely,
all the people in the background at the football club trying to make the transition from games to being at home watching. Incredible production. I went on a show and I saw it firsthand, and the work that's put into the shows is absolutely unbelievable. So a massive shout out to Emma. To John Marks, to Tommy Mooney, who covered all the games this season.
Love Robbo. Beautiful.
Robbo, Paul Robinson is
love Robbo,
genuinely one of the nicest men I've ever met. Tommy Mooney, top guys. A really big shout out to them. And we'll always remember this season, not just because we got promoted, but it was during these unprecedented times and the club stepped up on and off the pitch. And Hive Live has been a fantastic addition. And it would be, even if we go up to the Premier League and if we're at games, it would be nice to see that element continue, because I think that was a lovely way to interact with fans. And as they said, it is really about the supporters. So Hive Live, massive shout out. The ground staff at Watford, Scott and the gang. What a performance from the boys on the pitch. The guys who are actually in charge of the pitch, all that whole team that Scott has had, and rightly so. They've received so many plaudits. So much praise from the players and the supporters, and that was lovely to see, because as Troy said at the end of the game yesterday, these are the unsung heroes of the football club. From behind the scenes at Hive Live to the pitch staff to the canteen staff, these people don't get the recognition maybe sometimes, and it's been amazing to see through this power of social media, Scott getting the recognition for all the work that they've put in over the years. But I think particularly this season, I think it was the decision during the pandemic. I think it was just before the Leicester game when we came back, and they had a period, obviously, where we weren't at games, there was no football on, where they said, we're going to relay the pitch. And that was probably one of the best decisions that the ground staff have made, probably the best decision, because the pitch is just an absolute carpet. Yesterday, Elliot, you must have seen it again. Like, we've been at the games. It's amazing the way the pitch has improved. Just think about it.
And on that, sorry to interrupt you while your acknowledgements, but I think as someone that has had the privilege of going to the games this season, the staff at Watford are they're just really, really welcoming. You go there, you get your bag checked. I imagine it's all quite unusual with social distancing, but it's all very well sort of kept, and everything is rightly kept safe, with the social distancing, and from people checking your bags. Really nice people, giving out your tickets, really great. And then canteen staff asking how you are, all of that sort of thing. Everyone there has a smile on their face, and they're really happy to be there. And I've not had an experience at any other stadium yet as part of the press or anything like that. But it is from what I've heard from other people, it is a cut above the rest. And they're all really happy to be there, all really nice people, all with a smile on their face. And it makes it a really enjoyable experience to go there, even outside of the football. So I think all of those people that are there, that are working behind the scenes, I'm glad that they're getting their recognition, because they massively deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hive Live, ground staff, all the staff behind the scenes at Watford, a massive shout, as Dino says in the comments, to the NHS staff as well at Watford General Hospital, who have been fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Go on, mate.
Calme, the kits, beautiful. All three of them, the training kits, some of the best Watford shirts we've ever had. This black or third shirt is my favourite Watford shirt of all time. I've said that so many times. Still out, I think. 20 quid. PZ7 in the back. Unbelievable. Best Watford shirt. Best set of Watford shirts we've ever had. So massive shout out to Kelme.
Absolutely superb. Yeah, I've just seen the comments roll in as well. And just finally, a big shout out to everyone who's watched our content this season. Obviously, it's not the end of the season, but we've had to change the kind of content and style we've done this season. But I wanted to put on record my thanks to Sam and Elliot and Shane, because it would be a bit boring me just sitting here talking about Watford, but those guys have got involved in the season and made it an incredible, one of the most memorable seasons. Obviously, it's not been the ideal circumstances not being at games, but those lads have been amazing. I mean, the fact we've had 46 games and we've covered pretty much every single one of them with a match reaction, a match preview, and the way you guys have interacted with the content as well. It's been an absolute pleasure doing it this season, and the fact that we've managed to, the season culminated in us getting promoted. It's you couldn't write that much better, really. But massive.
Thank you, Jacob.
Elliot,
Jacob, mate. Thank you so much, mate.
No, I was saying it to you yesterday, Jacob. It's the channel. It's really progressed this year. I think we've gone from the fan cams outside the stadium, obviously not possible anymore, to these match reactions and the previews, which hopefully we'll be carrying on next season, even if we are back at grounds. And that decision, I think, has really taken our content to the next level. So thank you for having us all on board as well,
mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Echo that.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to. Oh God. I want to actually give a shout out to you, Jacob, because I think this channel has been, because I've listen. Look, for me, it's I'll be listen. You kind of know this already because I kind of messaged you and all that. But when you got Dan Backman on the channel, I think the dream back in 2017 under the old Marco Silva regime, as it were, back then, when the channel first started, was like getting in there with the club. And this season is where we've just, as Sam says, the channel has just gone sky high. You've been a huge part of that. You've been there from the beginning. A great guy to work with, someone who, I've had so many laughs with yesterday. And I think, it's been a very tough season. And I think, in a week where football kind of maybe lost itself a little bit, things were kind of crumbling. This football club has done things so right this season, off the pitch, on the pitch, the work within the community. It's a proper football club. And I am so incredibly proud to be a fan, to be a wider part of the Watford FC family. And Jacob, you've been the spearhead of the campaign this season, of the channel, and you've given us some fantastic moments. Even if I've not been involved, with the player interviews, they're fantastic to watch back. The match previews are informative, Elliot. You've come into your own this season. I've just got to come out and say that. Your role within the press 100%. Boxes is just fantastic. And Sam, you're passionate. I love you to bits. I love you all to bits. And Jacob,
emotional now.
I'm serious.
Do you know what? Next season's going to be now, mate. I'm going to be honest.
Next season is going to be absolutely brilliant. We're back.
Kicking in, mate.
I think tears are flowing under Jacob's sunglasses.
I can't take them off.
The only way is up for this channel, mate. The only way is up, and everyone on here deserves a huge round of applause. It's a huge team effort. And the one thank you I do want to give is to every single person that's watching now. There are some familiar faces who have been with us, whether it be Coventry away when I was sitting here contemplating our season, to, I don't know, the Bristol City game, and, the start of the season, of course, when Jacob was on the whiteboard going through all the players and the squad, and,
that's coming back, that video. I've said, Jacob, that video is coming back.
I'll bring it back.
That was fantastic.
What we'll do is
all the subscribers.
We'll be on it as well, but we will just sit and watch Jacob, and he will just take the floor for the whole video. We won't say a word. We'll just sit politely and enjoy it.
Surely, Shane, not to throw the compliment directly. Well, I'm going to throw the compliment directly at you. I've known Shane since 2017, as the comments say in here. Caroline, we love Shane-o. We love you, Shane-o.
Oh, guys, thank you so much.
There is a lot of love in the comments, mate. But Shane, look, Sunday nights with Shane have probably been one of the most fun hours I have every single week. I know Sam and Elliot have been watching the videos, but genuinely, I think during a time when there's not a lot of smiles, there's not a lot of laughs, I guess, outside of the world of football, an hour with Shane on a Sunday, having a beer, having a laugh, talking about Watford with great company, it doesn't get much better than that. And a massive shout out to Shane, because I know you've been working hard, mate, during over the last or so, and you've started your new job, and you could have quite easily gone, you know what, Jacob, I've got priorities in life, and that would have been completely understandable. But you still got involved with the content. You've still shown your passion for Watford Football Club, and you're a credit to the football club, mate. And I'm say that on behalf.
Thank you so much, mate.
Man, mate, top
that,
man.
Do you know, honestly, man, that means so much. And you know, I think I got a message actually a couple of days ago from someone. It was actually before, obviously, like the whole promotion kind of thing. It was from a fan who'd actually been going through a very, very tough time. You know, he'd lost, I think he'd actually lost his dad. He'd lost his mum, became severely ill during the pandemic and everything. And he is, in fact, a Watford fan. And he just said that actually for like an hour or so a day, he watches the Sunday night show. He watches our previews, and for half an hour, he's back to being a Watford fan again. It's given him such a huge boost. And, you know, I just think it's one of those things whereby if it's just one fan who watches the content and feels instantly better, who feels positive, who has something else to kind of think about, because it is horrible out there. Let's be honest. The start of all of this, you know, the whole Project Restart and all of that, some of the football we were playing, to be honest, wasn't fantastic. And it just, you felt so disconnected from the club, and the fact that the team have roared back this season, fans are smiling. Everyone is just so happy. And you know what? I just think if one fan has been lifted by what we've done, if one fan leaves one of our videos smiling, then it's all been worth it, frankly. And I'm so emotional. I really am.
We want to go off before we start tearing up on camera.
And the other Watford fan channels as well. You got
of course,
from the Rookery End, 1881 Club, the Voices of the Vic. What am I missing?
Well, we've got. I tell you what. The originals from the Rookery End. We've got the Voices of the Vic. We've got the Watford Way. We've got the Hornets Nest of Andy Lewis. We've got the 1880 Ricky. We've got Hornet Heaven. We've got the Watford Buzz podcast. You've got all these different podcasts, and you know the content that Watford fans put out is amazing. I love taking in all the other Watford fan content, and a massive shout out to the Voices of the Vic, who gave us a really, really nice shout out on their latest podcast. And make sure you do go and check that out. It was very, very kind. And those two lads, Mike and Ben, are brilliant. And also a massive. You know what? The last shout I'll give while we're on the subject is to the football club, because as Shane mentioned, we were so fortunate to get the opportunity to speak to some players this season, as we mentioned with Dan Backman, Cleverly, Joe Hungbo, Philip Zinkernagel, and the club have been nothing but supportive of the content we've done, not only from a personal point of view, doing some videos with the club, which has been incredible, something I never thought I'd get the opportunity to do when I started the channel. But to have those guys on, giving up an hour of their time to speak to us, has been absolutely fantastic. So a massive shout out to everyone at the football club. We really do appreciate it. And fingers crossed we can continue that going into next season as a Premier League club. And the best way to wrap it up, lads, is a message from Christian Cavaselli.
The local man is pleased.
He actually put something on his Instagram earlier saying, "Am I too late to the pond?" And he actually replied to us. Local man is pleased. Local man is late to the pond. That is
what was I going to say? I mean, it feels like the end of the season, but you know, we'll be back on Thursday for the Brentford preview.
We'll be back as usual here on WD18. That is our Watford promotion party special. What a video! I'll go so far as say on record, that's one of the most favourite videos I've done on this YouTube channel. Absolutely unbelievable. Great company from the 4 Premier League boys. Can't even say your names now. 4 Premier League. We've got Sam, Elliot, Shane. Smashed it today, lads. We really do appreciate it. Watford are back in the Premier League. Watford are back in the big time. We're going to be playing Premier League football next season. We'll be covering it here on WD18. Wow. Yeah, just about got my breath back. An emotional day, emotional video. Thank you to everyone who watched today. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to WD18. We've got some more exciting content on the way. We'll see you very, very soon. Come on, you odds!
Come on, you odds!